Hi, everybody. I'm AP. I'm an expert in educational technology and distance learning. And Lucid for Education and I want to help you get ready for this new adventure, which is distance learning. If you have any questions after you watch this, you can reach out to us via email and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Let's get started. Today, I want to give you a little bit of a pep talk and remind you that you can do this. And then we're going to jump right into strategy. We're going to learn how to choose one key point to instruct on, a strategy to deliver it with, and then we're going to get brave and just do it and learn from our happy accidents and mistakes so that we can get better every time. So whether or not you know it, you are ready for this. All those future-ready skills you've been drilling on with your students, it's time to model for them how those work in a job where there's uncertainty and you're required to use critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and most importantly, communication to get your job done. Show them what you're doing and talk to them about how these future-ready skills are playing into what you're delivering every day. Model for them what it looks like to use these future-ready skills. You've already positioned yourself as a mentor and as a connection for your students. Continue to leverage that even during this time of distance learning, and you're going to do fine. The other tip is to reach out to people who have maybe walked the road before or veteran teachers. Ask them for help. That's just as good a skill as knowing everything, is knowing when to ask for help and building community through helping each other. You've got this. So when we teach online, we need to be really precise and succinct about what we're teaching. We need to tell students exactly what we want them to learn from the activity, and it's just more of the same, posting standards and objectives like we would in our classroom, only now we're going to make sure we're super explicit about it. One way to choose the key point that you want to focus on is to think about the one thing your student must take from this in order to move on to the next piece of content, or to summarize the lesson in one word. So open up your planner, go to the next lesson you were going to teach, and pick out the one key point from that lesson that you're going to focus on today. If you're feeling like I have to teach everything, this is when your role as a real professional comes through. You get to make the decision about what that's going to be today. And if you're a new teacher and you're not feeling super sure about yourself there, reach out to the veterans and they can help you. Trust yourself. You can do this. Once you've chosen that key piece of information that you want to relay through this activity, then you're going to want to choose a strategy to deploy it. You can reuse these strategies over and over again. And there's lots more than these three, but this is what we're going to focus on today. I'm going to show you an example of each and point out the one key point that the teacher wanted to convey with each of these activities. Let's do that together. So the first one is a mind map, and the key piece of information that the teacher wanted to convey here is the contributing factors to America winning the Revolutionary War. And so instead of saying that and spilling a bunch of information, the teacher flipped it to a question. So that's the strategy this particular activity uses. Flips it to a question and then assigned each student a different arm of our mind map here, and they filled it in here with all sorts of information. Gave the students an opportunity to collaborate, to go digging. Some students may choose to use their textbook, but you could also offer resources depending on the maturity level of your student, and then they can turn it in through your LMS or through a number of other ways. Get creative. You can think about ways they can turn it in, maybe through a video or some other method. So let's look at another example. My favorite is Genius Hour. So a student may have something that they've always wanted to talk about or tell you about. You all know who the student is, raising their hand, wanting to share fun facts. And this is an opportunity to let them do that. The one piece of information that this teacher wanted the students to take away is what is a biography. So she let the students choose anyone they wanted to talk about. And the only guideline was it had to be so many slides long, which just happened to be the size of the template that they were using. And she assigned it out, they filled it in, and then you could either have the students upload it through your LMS or do a presentation when you come back to school together, or you could take what they had shared with you and you could share it out. So all of those things work, and it really gives the students an opportunity to show some personality. This one cracks me up because we learned that he was in fact a famous medicine dude. You may not have known that, so now you do. Okay, let's look at a third strategy. This is allowing students to create a newspaper or newsletter from a particular time or place. And you may think, well, that works great for history, but it can actually work for any subject matter. And the idea is you have students contribute different pieces to a collaborative newsletter, and then you assemble it in a template, or you assign the template and have students put their pieces into it, and then you create a PDF and share that out through your LMS or however you're sharing information with your students right now. You can go a lot of different directions with this, but one that I've seen doing really well right now is teachers asking students to write about what's going on in their home, like a narrative, or using other types of writing like haikus, poetry, to just get some of that anxiety out on paper. Again, you know that for some of your students, you'll still be a primary touch point of sanity and mental health. And doing a newsletter like this gives you the opportunity to both meet a standard and continue that connection, even if your assignments are asynchronous, meaning you're not all in the same digital room together at the same time. So now maybe the hardest part, which is getting gritty and just doing it. When I was teaching online, I was always very aware that my students' parents were watching my recorded video clips, or that they were watching class over my students' shoulders, that they were observing their students working on these collaborative documents, and that was sort of overwhelming sometimes. But what I found out was that it's worth the risk of making a mistake and getting a few grumpy emails to figure out how your students want to connect with you at a distance. And so just get brave and jump. Learn from your mistakes because you're going to make them. But later, when everyone comes back together, you'll have a brand new toolkit of really interesting ways to connect with your students that you never had before. And you might learn some things from them too. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you the best of luck. Take care of yourselves out there. We're so glad for the work you're doing and so grateful for your professional expertise. Take care.